Hi, and welcome to a new video here today on Ryan Talks Tech. So, what are we looking at in today's video? Well, we're taking a look at this speaker here, right next to me. This is the Bose Portable Home Speaker. Now, I've got some thoughts on this one, quite a lot actually. So, let's dive right into it. Now, we're going to start off with me giving you the price I paid for this. Because if I paid full price, which I didn't, things may be different. I only paid £150 for this speaker, and the reason I got it at such a good price is because I bought it second hand, and it did have some wear and tear marks. And I don't know if you can see there, but it does have a little chip in the plastic at the top. And when I got it, it had a few scratches on the grill here. Now, I know you can't see them anymore. Reason is, I simply got a bit of marker pen and just coloured in the scratch. And honestly, I can't even tell. I really can't. So, if you do get scratches on this, it's really easy to fix with a bit of black marker pen. Okay, anyway, like I said, I paid £150 for it. The usual going rate on these at the moment, here in the UK, I think is about £350. Now, if I paid £350, I may not send it back, but I wouldn't be far off. And let me go over why. So the build quality of this thing is actually quite good. It is mostly plastic. In fact, I think it's plastic all over, other than this little rope handle type thing that we've got at the top here. Now, obviously, the build quality is not amazing because it has picked up some dents and a few scratches from wear and tear. But that can happen with a lot of speakers. That's not just something that's exclusive to the Bose here. So the build quality overall, I wouldn't say is too bad, and it's pretty decent and what you'd expect for a kind of speaker like this. Yes, it would have been nicer if Bose had used some more high quality materials, especially at the price this usually costs, such as maybe a metal body rather than plastic. Now, what do I think of the sound quality? Now, sound quality is subjective. It depends on your ears and how you perceive sound. But personally, I don't think the sound quality is too bad. I think the speaker itself is very clear. The vocals sound fantastic on this. I will give it that. And the bass isn't bad either, especially for a speaker of this size. However, personally, I am a bass lover. So I do like a little bit more bass than what this offers. Although it offers enough for most people, I would say. And it is quite good in a large room. I'm currently filming this video in my living room, and my living room is 21 foot long, so it is quite a large room, and it easily fills it. Don't get me wrong, I do have to crank the volume up to about 80% if I wanted it loud, but if I was just listening at casual volumes, this would be fine around 50-60%. So the sound quality is quite good on this. Like I say, I would like a little bit more bass, but that's not too bad overall. So the build quality is not bad, the sound quality is not bad. What else do we have to cover? Well, I'm going to now cover ports, and ports might not be something a lot of people talk about, but I would like to talk about it in this video. So what you've got here on the back is you've got a USB-C port for charging, and on the bottom you've got some coils, as you can see here. Now what these are for, if you don't know already, is you can buy a little stand that sits on your desk that the speaker will sit on, and it's basically wireless charging. The way it works is the stand has some little pins that make contact with this metal coil on the bottom, hence wireless charging. Now that is sold extra. That is a separate piece of thing. That is a separate thing you would have to buy. It doesn't come in the box, and that is about £25 here in the UK at the moment from Bose directly. And if you don't want that, don't get me wrong, you can just use the USB-C port for charging. Now, this is missing a port that I would have liked to see. And I did know this before I bought it, so it's not stopped me buying it, but it may be something you want to consider. I would have liked a line-in port, and by that what I mean, you may know it as an aux port or a 3.5mm jack. So it's basically a connection to plug a wired device in. And unfortunately, this doesn't have that. This has got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth support, but you can't connect a wired device, which I think is a little bit of a shame and certainly a missed trick here from Bose. Considering many other speakers at this price point have that, yeah, I think it's a bit of a missed trick. Now don't get me wrong, this was released back in 2019. And in 2019 it was pretty common to have a line in port on speakers like this. Now here in 2025, it's not as common. More manufacturers are removing them, but Bose seem to be one of the first to do it, considering they did it back in 2019. Now this is a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth speaker, and with the Wi-Fi you get a couple of options. You've got Apple AirPlay streaming, so you can stream from your Apple device, whether that be a MacBook, iPhone, iPad, whatever. If it's an Apple device, you can stream through Apple AirPlay over the Wi-Fi to the speaker. You've also got Spotify Connect, so you can connect your Spotify no problem. And you've obviously got your voice assistants. Now if you don't know, this does have voice assistants. It's got Amazon and Google Home built in, so you can use them no problem, the Google Assistants and the Alexa, depending on your preference. I'm personally more of an Alexa guy, so that's what I prefer to use. Now you will notice when I said the word there, I did bleep it out, and as you can see I've just set mine off there. The reason I bleeped it out is because I don't want to be setting off any of your guys' devices if you have any at home. So yeah, I don't think it's a bad speaker all in all. It is decent build quality, it is decent sound. Like I say, I would like a little more bass, and I do think it is a bit of a missed trick that it doesn't have an audio input for a wired connection. But you do have your Wi-Fi and you've got your Bluetooth. So yeah, all in all, it's not a bad speaker. Now, I've only had this speaker a couple of hours at this point, and I have listened to it indoors and I've listened to it outdoors. I'd say it sounds about the same. Obviously, you might want to have it louder outdoors, because outdoors there's more space. That's just the way sound works. If there's more space, sound can spread, which means you need it louder to get the same volume. Where indoors, you've got the walls and everything, which the sound can reflect off and bounce into your ears. So outdoors, you may want to have this a little bit louder. But it does sound good indoors or outdoors. Do bear that in mind. So no matter which you're buying it for, I'd say this is a good shout. The only thing is, like I say, I would personally like a little bit more bass. But like I say, I'm a bass lover, and for most people, the amount of bass this provides will be good enough. And the bass is pretty impressive for a speaker of this size. It's just I personally would like a little bit more. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a sound test on the speaker as well. But as I say in all my videos where I give sound tests, do bear in mind that through a YouTube video, you're not going to experience the sound as it would be if you were here in person with me. The video goes through the camera and then the audio processing in the camera. Then it gets uploaded to YouTube, the audio processing on YouTube. And then depending on what you're listening on will depend on the sound quality. So no matter how many times you listen or what device you're listening on, this speaker is not going to sound the same to you as it does to me sat here in person. However, I'm still going to give you the sound test because it should give you some sort of idea what to expect. But I do recommend using a decent pair of headphones. Like I say, no matter what device you listen on, you're still not going to get the full representation of the sound quality as it would be in person. But to get the best I can give you, you should use a decent pair of headphones. So let's go ahead with the sound test. Now I am going to have to play some non-copyright music, otherwise this video will get taken down by YouTube. But here we go anyway. Here's the sound test.
Drink, think deeply as I sing. Finally, someplace I found peace in the dark of night. Tabletops, counters in the early hours, stone cold inside. Banging drops, dancers, never needing answers. We wander all alone, but we can't find the street lights go. We wander all alone, but we can't deny we are the street
yeah, once again, not a bad speaker, good build quality, good sound. I'd like a little bit more bass. The functionality of it is great. The Bluetooth works well, the Wi-Fi works well. Now, obviously, here at home, I use the Wi-Fi, so I can use the... However, if I was out and about, then obviously I wouldn't have access to Wi-Fi, so I'd use the Bluetooth. So if I took this to the beach maybe, I'd connect my phone via Bluetooth to this. Now the battery life, I do want to cover that before we wrap up the video. The battery life is 12 hours in this. Now, that's going to be long enough for most days, don't get me wrong. 12 hours is going to cut it. Don't get me wrong, 12 hours is fine, is what I'm trying to say. However, here in 2025, we're seeing speakers come out with 20 hours and things like that. So that does put this a bit behind. But 12 hours is going to be fine for most days. Who's going to go to the beach and sit there longer than 12 hours? I don't think many people are. So 12 hours should be fine for this. Don't get me wrong, over time your battery will degrade a little bit. But when I've read some reviews, most people are getting more than 12 hours out of this. Bose claim 12 hours. And the highest I've heard of people getting is 14. So 14 hours is really good. So yeah, I definitely think this is a good one to buy. I wouldn't be too happy with it if I paid full price. Mainly because it does lack a bit of bass. And like I say, I do like a lot of bass in my music. But for most people, it will be fine. Try to get a deal if you can. And if you can get a decent one second hand, I would recommend that. Don't go out and spend loads of money on this when you can get one pretty cheap, like I did. Like I say, I only paid £150 here in the UK for mine. And at that price, I'm very happy with it. So yeah, that's about it for this video then. I hope you've enjoyed. Please like it and subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.